Started recording again. Second time's a charm. Hello, everyone. How do you do?
Hello.
At least it's not like the Attack on Titan one where we had to start 3 different
Oh god,
times.
I know. It's like, okay, this time. And then it's just like, okay, fine, everybody just watch it on your own laptop and we'll talk about it.
Which worked out better.
Yeah, it
uh,
worked.
by the time this comes out, if anyone's watching, they'll have no idea what we're talking about because that still won't be out.
Yeah, they'll
If
just be
it's
like,
coming
huh?
out.
Huh? You what? Attack on
Yeah.
Titan? What do you talk about Attack on Titan?
Plenty in good time. If it even comes out, that is. Yeah, for Attack on Titan, I'll know if we're gonna be recording moving forward after we finish episode 5. I'll know for sure.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Oh yeah, because like we have to figure out if people like it or not. Well, I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. But episode 5, I'll know definitively if you guys are in or out. So,
hmm
yeah. But yeah, what did you watch this week? Or what did you even
Oh,
play? Either one.
I played a game called Dreamfall. It's like really old game from 2006 because I was like, I feel like playing a point and click game. So I was like, okay, that popped up
Yeah, I
on
do.
Steam a bunch, and I
Uh,
just finished it today.
oh, nice.
Yeah. And I was like, the ending's a bit disappointing, and then it was like, oh, they have a second game. So I just started the second game today, and I'm like, I'm glad it's carrying on because I was like, that's a really crappy ending for a game.
Oh, well, it can be said for so many of them, can't it?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I had fun playing the game though.
That's good.
It just gave me like proper nostalgia because it had like serious like PS2 graphics, and I was just like, oh my
Ah,
god, so old.
back in the day.
I and I watched Shaun of the Dead. Um, I didn't watch any. Oh, I watched Finding Nemo before again,
Oh,
which I haven't
great.
watched in so long. Because Mikey was like, "What's the film with Bruce the shark in it?" I was
Oh
like,
my
"Oh, you mean Finding Nemo?" And he
god.
was like, "Yeah, I want to watch that." I was like, "Okay, let's watch that then."
Genuinely, like, to this day, me and my dad still talk about Bruce.
Yeah,
He,
Bruce is great.
he is the best character in that film. I
Yeah,
will.
that was literally the only reason he wanted to watch it was just for the shark, and I'm like, that is fair.
Fish are friends, not food. I just love it when he's all bloodthirsty and all that, and the
Yeah,
hammerhead's like, "Sorry about him. He's really a nice guy." It's like,
yeah,
oh, that was incredible. Oh, I gotta watch Finding Nemo again. It's been over a decade since I've
yeah.
seen it.
It was a long time for me as well, and I was like, oh, I forgot all this stuff happens. I still love Dory.
Dory was fun.
Yeah. Did you ever see Finding Dory? That was pretty funny.
Do you know what? I never had an interest in it. I didn't watch
That's
it.
fair.
I think my parents watched it and they hated it. So I'm like, oh my
Oh,
god,
fair enough.
if they hate it, Jesus, I can't imagine what I would think. Because they're pretty lenient when it comes to films, and if they're saying it's bad, I'm like, oh my god, I might
it's
hate
not
it.
as good as it's not as good as Finding Nemo, but I had a good time with it.
Fair enough, fair enough. As long as I have Nemo, I'll be fine.
That's fair. Yeah. Um. Oh, and I started watching BoJack Horseman because I've heard that's good and it's actually really funny. I'm enjoying it.
Cool, cool. I've never like I've heard a lot of things about BoJack Horseman, but I don't really have an interest in that Rick and Morty and stuff like that because
That's
it all
fair.
just looks the same visually, and I'm like, I want something more interesting.
That's
Because
fair. I don't go for the visuals. I'm just there for the humor.
yeah, but it's like I wish that American 2D animators or shows rather understand that you can do more than just that style of artwork
Yeah.
because it's everywhere. Every Netflix 2D show, with the exception of like Castlevania and the anime, is just
Yeah.
that. It's kind of disappointing.
Yeah. That's fair. I get what you mean, as in terms of, like, animation and the style of the show, it is very, like it feels like you just drew some characters and threw them together, but, like, the actual characters themselves are quite interesting and have, like, you can they're not all, like, the same. Like, with Rick and Morty, a lot of them feel like they're, like, one note, but, like, a lot of characters have things where you're like, "Really? They're having that character have this thing go on?" It's like, "This is interesting."
Yeah, I remember a while back. This is like year two of uni or something like that. I watched an episode of BoJack with Danny way back, and I'm like,
Oh,
I didn't see what the hype was, so I was like, all
that's
right,
fair.
if you like it, have at it, So yeah, it just didn't hit me in any way, so I was like, I just always stayed away from it.
That's fair. If it's not for you, it's not for you. I just literally the only reason I ended up watching it is because I was like, I don't know what to watch, so I did the Netflix shuffle thing, and I was like, oh,
Ah,
this I've heard about this, and I actually liked it, so I was like, fair enough. So
sweet,
watched 2 seasons of it so far.
nice, nice,
hmm I think
nice,
that's about all I've watched. So,
fantastic. um, as far as what I've watched and played, I started Fallen Order, the Star Wars game.
ooh,
It's perfectly alright.
awesome.
um,
I'm not really that interested in it, to be honest.
Neither was I, but a friend of mine had it, and he was like, "Oh, if you want it, I could just lend it to you." I'm
And
like,
that's fair.
"Oh, well, if I don't have to pay for it, sure, I'll play it."
That is completely fair. I
Yeah,
don't blame you.
and it's like I get what a lot of people mean when they say, "Oh, it's very Dark Souls-esque," but I'm like, "Oh, it, it's very, it's it's competent. That's the best way I can describe it. It's competent." And the story is kind of intriguing, and plus BD1, I do like that droid, but yeah, it's fine is the best way I can describe it so far. And there's been a couple of times when there was one time when I was in the tutorial section, and I was shuffling away Prince of Persia style along an edge,
Yeah.
and a friend of mine was in the game, the character's friend was like, "Hey, I'll meet you at the end," and I'm just jumping up, and it's like, "No, just reach down. You can catch me, please." And he just didn't, and I'm like, "You are on my shit
Oh,
list forever."
I hate you.
He died later, so it's fine. I'm like, justified.
You're just like, that's funny.
Yeah, it's almost like the game knew. Um, I watched episode 4 of Detention, and it's been slow going, and I
Ooh.
cannot believe it's been so slow going. But episode
Oh.
4 of Detention, one of the best episodes of TV I've seen since Bly Manor.
Oh wow.
It's
I'll definitely have to check it out now.
like it's an it's incredibly paced. The character work's amazing. Plot progression, development, themes, everything was just spot on. Like the rest of the show could be shit for all I know because
But
I
it's
haven't
just
watched
like
it.
episode 4.
Episode 4 was peak writing, and I'm like, oh my god, it's so good.
Awesome.
Um, but yeah, I haven't felt that way watching. Like, it was an hour long, and by the time I finished, I was like, no, that was like 10 minutes, and I was like, oh my god, an hour's passed. I was riveted. It was great. Highly recommend so far, at least until episode 4, I can recommend it.
Cool.
Um, I
Let's
watched.
hope it doesn't do like a WandaVision what it like did for you. You're like episode 3, it's great, and then after that you're like, oh no, oh
Oh
no.
no! Please, please, show stop! No. Uh, yeah, like my mouth was open, aghast by the end of that show. My God, but discussion for another time, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. No
But
worries.
yeah, um, watched Demon Slayer, the film.
Ah,
Very,
cool.
very entertaining. Highly recommend if you're into the show or if you're into anime in general.
Mhm.
um, I watched The Father, the Anthony Hopkins film.
Ah, I don't think I've ever seen that actually. Was it any good?
It was terrific. It
Awesome.
was best film of the year so far that I've seen.
Or is it
Very
like
good.
recently new?
Yeah,
Okay.
in America it came out like January, but yeah, it was phenomenal. Um,
Oh,
Nothing but praise for it. It was so good. I was like, oh, good stuff. I've missed you.
shit.
um, what else did I watch? Oh yeah, Shaun of the Dead, which is another good thing.
Yeah.
Right, so because what we've got is mainly praise for it, I was thinking maybe we could just go um, chronologically and just talk about anything that we may find interesting along the
Okay.
way, and
Yeah.
kind of like how we did the DC films, but with something good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that works.
Fantastic. So, what did you think about it watching it yesterday?
Rewatching it, it like actually made me laugh out loud a whole bunch. And like I remember the first time I watched it, I didn't laugh out loud. And I don't know if that might have just been because I was like younger and just kind of not all the humor hit the way it hit now. Because it's been a long time since I watched Shaun of the Dead. It's one of the ones I didn't watch the most of. And I'm like, why did I not watch this? I mean, hello, it's got zombies in it and romance. Those are two things that like are kind of things I really enjoy in films. But yeah, I just never went back to it. But yeah, rewatching it, I was laughing my ass off the whole time.
Interesting. I'm the reverse of that. First time
Okay.
I watched it, I was laughing all the way throughout. This time round, I didn't. I think I chuckled a couple of times, but no,
Uh,
like I understood. Like the jokes landed as far as I'm concerned. Like they were all
yeah,
incredibly well constructed. But it's
yeah,
like I don't know. Maybe it's just because I knew it. I knew what to expect.
it's
Something like
familiar. Yeah,
yeah. I'm not too sure about why I didn't laugh this time round.
it's
But I was
fair.
like, ah, that was funny, and I just didn't laugh for some reason. I don't get
Yeah.
it. But
See, I don't know why I didn't laugh the first time I watched it because I was like, some of them I was like, this is really funny, but I didn't laugh at it. It's like,
yeah, it's very odd because if you were to ask me, oh, is it good? It's like, oh yeah, absolutely.
hell yeah.
I just because like the timing, everything is like it's so well put together,
Yeah,
and I don't know, it's really weird. I just didn't laugh
yeah.
this time. I thought
Like
that was
one
very. Oh, go on.
Sorry. I was gonna say, like, one joke that I never actually realized was an actual joke, you know, when she says, like, "Don't exacerbate things," and he's like, "What does it mean?" I never clicked onto that, and I was like, "Oh, I think
Yeah.
that one, I was just laughing at my own stupidity."
Like, what does that mean? It's like no, no, no. What does exacerbate mean? It's like, oh, okay. I was like,
I lo I love those kind of jokes. They're just, like, stupid, but I love them.
oh, ambiguity is great.
Yeah. Oh.
um, but yeah, I just this is something I've always loved Edgar Wright for, and it is just the way he edits. It's so sharp.
Yes. It's, like, fast-paced. Like, I love the way, like, you know, in the making, like, jam sandwiches, like, that could be such a crappy, mundane task to film, but, like, he does it so fast, it's like fast paced making a sandwich, and it's just I don't know. I'm just like, oh, I wish I could edit like that.
With practice.
I will one day.
No, but even in the opening bar scene when they were like when
Oh
the
yeah,
girlfriend was talking about, hey, I really feel like we need some space too, and then Eddie just goes,
yeah,
fuck. It's like, oh my
same.
god. It's just so good.
Yeah, I love when they're talking about their friends. Like, it's not that I don't hate you, and then they're literally right there. It's
I
not that
don't
I
hate
hate
you.
you.
Yeah. uh it's so good. Like something I didn't realize though is how long it takes to get to the actual zombies.
Yeah.
Because I was because I like to take breaks and bathroom breaks, tea breaks, and stuff like
Mm.
that in between films. This is kind of my thing. Whereas like I went, I paused it. I was like, 40 minutes in, huh? We still haven't had like a proper zombie moment, and it's like, huh, interesting. Like, well, quote unquote, actual zombie moment.
Yeah, I mean, you get like subtle hints that there are zombies, like,
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of what he was going for. Is like, I don't want them to straight out be like, "Oh no, zombies!" Like he wanted to just like, because I genuinely think, you know, the way how like Sean's just completely oblivious. I genuinely think that's how some people would be, even if there was a zombie apocalypse going on.
especially today.
No, I'm not talking about myself, honest. Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my god, he's at it again, and just walk right
Yeah.
past.
Like, you know how they're like, whenever they see like someone being bitten, they're like, "Oh, they're getting frisky." That is probably something I'd do. I'd be like, get a room,
I
guys.
know, right? Genuinely, I'd be like, oh
And
wow,
then
they're really going at it.
the zombie's head would just fall off, and I go, "Wow, he's had a bit to drink." That's how oblivious I would be.
uh yeah, it's like um having seen like Wells and Hot Fuzz, Baby Driver and all that, his later films, going back to Shaun is really interesting because
Yeah,
it's like even though Shaun is still very well edited, I would say that there are still certain things that you could tell they were trying to figure out, and they would
yeah,
it like this is like the film they were like, can we do this? Can this work? Like it works, right? Let's refine it. And Hot Fuzz was just near perfect.
yeah,
Like there were small instances where the pacing could really have been like it's not big like Zack Schneider levels of pacing issues, but like I'm literally
yeah,
talking milliseconds.
yeah. I think it's probably because this is like one of his earlier movies, so
Yeah,
you can sort of see where he's figured out the pacing issues as he's gone along, obviously with his filmmaking career. But even
absolutely.
for a first attempt, like, damn, this is a good film.
I know, right? It's shockingly good.
Yeah,
Like no one should be this good for the first time or anything like that. It's just, is this his first?
I don't think it's his first,
Let us
but
check.
I want to say early film.
Oh yeah, definitely early. But
Yeah.
Mr. Wright, what is your
Oh,
filmography?
he's got a new horror movie coming out soon, hasn't he?
Yes, Last Night in Soho.
I'm excited.
So he's directed before, but Shaun, I think, is his first full-on feature.
Ah,
He's done Fistful of Fingers. I have no idea what that is. Oh, he's done
mm,
French and Saunders. Nice, I love French and Saunders. So Fist. That's weird. Interesting. A Fistful of Fingers is a cowboy film from 1995, which he wrote and directed.
that's cool.
Yeah, and then his next feature film is Shaun of the Dead.
Nice.
For his second feature, it's still un- ungodly
That's
good.
impressive. Yeah.
It's like what I really appreciated in this is just how much work had obviously gone into the script by Edgar Wright
Yeah.
and Simon Pegg. Like there's plans and payoffs for
Oh God,
everything.
I know. Every time there was a plant and then a payoff, I was just like, I'm so happy. Because I was just like,
Yeah,
I've watched so many things with no payoff.
or
When it
payoffs
works,
without
it
plans.
makes me happy. Yeah, it's like, oh wait, there was a plan for that. Okay,
Yeah.
if you say so, movie.
um, it's like there's so many instances of things being repeated, but
Yeah,
being out of place at the same time, and it just
yeah,
flows so well. Like the opening oneer where he goes from his house to the shop and back again was just phenomenally executed.
yeah. I also love how like he was going, "You're dead," and it's like they're gonna be dead later on. I enjoy. It kind of reminds me of Baby Driver because he does the same thing in that, where one of the characters goes, "If you don't see me, it's because I'm dead," and then we never see him again.
Oh,
And
John
I just
Bernthal,
kind
isn't
of,
it? Yeah,
yeah, I just kind of love how he very clearly has a style and he sticks to it.
absolutely.
And also, it could be like a callback as well
Yeah, definitely.
for fans, and I love that.
But it's like, yeah, we get our first instance of someone collapsing out of nowhere at like 9 minutes, and by then we understand Shaun, Ed, his roommate, and his routine and what he does. It's so
Yeah,
good. Like, I can't imagine how many drafts of the script they had to go to before
I
they
know.
refined it to this level. Like, oh, it's I miss good scripts. in the
It just,
mainstream.
me too.
Oh my god! And then when Bill Nye comes along to the electronic
Oh,
shop,
good, yeah.
it was incredible.
I know, I love him in it.
He was just playing that. He could have. He was essentially playing a mellowed out version of Victor from Underworld,
Yeah, pretty
and I just
much.
loved it. Oh, and then just how dry he is as he's interacting with everyone. It's just,
Yeah,
yes, well, Sean, I understand that this is what I'm like. He's just completely in a different universe to everyone in this film.
yeah. Oh, I love the bit where he's like, "You didn't call a doctor, did you?" "Well, I just thought to be on the safe side." Like, "I don't need a doctor, I'll be fine."
Yeah. Just
I'm like, "This is too topical."
I loved it when
Sorry.
oh, no, it's fine. I loved it when he was talking to his mom on the phone after they've killed their first zombie. It's like, "Mom, are you okay?" "Oh, yes, I'm fine." And it's like, "Did you get bitten?" "No, but Roger did." And it's like, "Oh, thank God."
Okay. Yeah, they're just like, "Oh, it's okay then."
Yeah.
Oh. I love the, where they start throwing stuff at the zombies scene.
Hmm. Just meticulously going through their
They just,
records.
like, just throw a toaster, going through them and, like, making sure it's actually a record he doesn't like, or I like how he just throws the first one and he's like, "That was a limited edition, no!"
The second one they threw was the Batman '89 soundtrack, and I
I
was
know,
like,
I was like,
okay.
"Oh, how dare you!"
I think my dad had the same one way back in the day. And I thought, oh, that was cool.
Oh, um,
But yeah, I love how, like, compared to a lot of other zombie films, there's a lot of attention given to character development rather
yeah,
than variety of character. And like thinking back to, like, because we both watched Army of the Dead last week,
mhm.
and that was a
It's
fun
very good.
time. It was a very fun time, but we never really got
Mm.
a lot of character development. We got a lot of variety of characters.
Yeah. There was a lot of different people going around, but they didn't really develop throughout the story. They just kind of were there doing their
Yeah,
different character quirks.
like everyone had their quirk, but nothing beyond that. And
Yeah,
whereas this, everyone was incredibly well developed.
yeah. Like Sean is obviously starts off as this as a certain way, like basically in a routine and not really willing to change. And
Hmm,
then like obviously throughout the story, he like has to change.
absolutely. And it's like, I'm not sure how prevalent it was meant to be or not, but there was this real, at least when I was watching it, I found a real themetism
Yeah,
related to growing up and moving forward in life as opposed to
yeah,
staying, immature and shit like that. Because when you look at, well, this skipping a bit to the end, but when it comes to the military boys coming along and wrecking everything, the person who got them was his friend. And when we first see her, it's like, wow, you got a house? Yeah, adulting, it's like, who would have
yeah,
thought?
yeah,
So there's a real, like, progression of, oh, hey, if you're gonna be staying the same as you were in, like, high school, college, and stuff like that, like, you're gonna be, like, in a routine, you're gonna be a zombie, but if you're
yeah,
moving forward, if you're developing, then you're gonna be
yeah,
really alive, kind of thing.
yeah. It was really clever how they used like they had like human characters behave like zombies. Like Sean behaves like a zombie. The whole
Hmm.
like when he wakes up and he just stumbles through the house, he's like a zombie.
Or me at 4 in the morning when I wake up for a
Or,
glass
or
of
yeah,
water.
also, or just me when I wake up in general. I'm like, where am I? Who am I? What happened?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was like, I thought that was really interesting. Also, like, having, like, zombie traits in
Yeah,
people before the actual outbreak itself. Like, it's
yeah,
comedic, but at the same time, it takes the zombie genre so seriously. And
yeah,
it's so cool to see that.
yeah. It's really good. Like, this is a comedy, so it could have easily just leaned heavily in the comedy direction, but it's just like all the attention to detail and all the little like there's all these little things that were just like I missed the first time I watched this film and then rewatching it, I was like, oh, it's just so good.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Like watching it this time around, like I like I said earlier, the script is stellar, and I just didn't appreciate it as much the first time I watched it, which was a
Yeah,
while ago.
same. Like, I think I was just not paying attention to, like, how dialogue and, like, scenes are scripted and stuff when I first watched this, because it was I think the first time I watched this, it was way before I'd even, like, started college and did anything in terms of studying
Hmm.
film, so
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's like it's really cool because talking about plans and payoffs as well, like the amount of times it's like, oh, the Winchester's talked about, oh, the Winchester
yeah,
gun in the table. It's like, oh, the fact that what's his face loves what's her face. It's like,
yeah,
and then it's like, oh, it's like the
Dave.
Dave, yeah. And it's like there are so many different aspects of the film that were set up in the first half,
Yeah,
developed in the meat and potato right in the middle, and then like when everything's going to hell, everything's just being paid off one after another, and it's just so good.
yeah. I just love the foreshadowing as well in this. It's so good.
Mm. Oh, I love the fact because we just went past it. Like when he's like, "Hey, I'm outside." It's like, "Okay, we're not letting you in. I'm gonna climb." Like, is he actually climbing? Like, okay, I didn't climb. And then later on in the film, it was paid off where he does climb, showing
Yeah,
progress visually without saying anything. It's so
yep.
good. Oh,
I love where he gives her flowers and they say to a wonderful mum, and I'm just like, that's a ballsy move, mate.
it's like, are these for your mom? Yeah, they were. Okay, here you go. Back to him
I'd,
again.
yeah, I'd be like, at least you were honest, but still, get out my house.
Yeah. Now, first he was like, "Oh no, it was meant to be this practical joke," you know. It's
I
like, "Oh
know.
yeah, this for your mom." Yeah, they were okay.
To be fair, I probably would have found it a really funny joke, but at the same time, I'd have been like, get out of my house.
Hmm. It's like Dave, like
Yeah, Dave.
never
Is the other
liked
guy with the
him
glasses.
ever. At the same time, well written character.
Yeah. You're not supposed to like him, he's a bit of a asshole.
Yeah.
Like, there are people I've known that have been just like him, and you're just like, "Oh my god, please go away. You suck."
But to skip forward slightly all the way to the end when Sean's mom was about to turn, like
Oh, yeah.
he was the only one speaking sense, but the way he went about it was
It
such
was
a dick
yeah.
way that it's like, he's like, I see what you're trying to do, dude, but
Yeah.
this is not the way.
Yeah. It's just like, "Your mom's a zombie. She's dead now." I was just like, "Dude, there are so many better ways you could handle that." Like, you could literally just be like, "I know you did," like the way Liv, I think it's Liz, said it to him. She was like, "I know you don't
Hmm.
wanna hear this, but she's gone, and you need to, like, you need to not fall apart," kinda thing, whereas he was just like, "She's dead, and we need to shoot her," and it's like, "Yeah, but dude, like, that's the guy's mum."
Yeah, it's like it really talks about oh, you gotta treat people with some amount of empathy. That was kind of
Yeah.
interesting how it's like, oh, and it kind of ties into like maturity and then growing up and stuff like that as well, because
Yeah.
the way Dave was handling it was in a very, well, quote unquote, immature way, where it's like, oh, hey, yeah, do you know what? This thing, just do it, you dick. And then
Yeah.
Liz handled it with a lot more empathy and got through
Mhm.
to him on an emotional level as opposed to purely intellectual. Because when you're
Yeah.
emotional, it's hard to be reasonable with someone, whereas Liz was
Yeah.
empathetic and reasonable at the same time.
Yeah.
Ed, the amount like Ed is just I'm not gonna lie, I would have killed Ed myself if I was there.
Yeah. Ed is literally the metaphor for immature friends.
Yeah. But like even that, to skip way to the end, the fact that Ed is still there, zombified, is almost like saying, "Yeah, you need to grow up, you need to be mature, but hold on to that fucking
You can be a
immaturity."
zombie. Yeah.
It's like hold on to that immature side of you because you can't be serious all the time. So I thought that that was a nice balanced message for
Yeah.
this film.
It was very good.
Hmm. It's really interesting seeing how different directors decide to utilize the zombies in
Yeah.
whatever metaphor they want to use. Because Romero used it for consumerism and
Yep.
racial tension and stuff like that. Edgar Wright does it for what's maturity, and then Zack
Yeah.
Snyder target practice, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Or Zack Snyder's like heist movie, but with zombies.
Hmm. I was thinking more about it. The more I'm disappointed with Army of the Dead, despite how much I really enjoyed it, because
Yeah.
like you had Vegas, you had zombies, but not much of it intersected. To be
Yeah, I
fair,
was like, it's just like Vegas is literally the setting. That's all there is to it. It was
yeah.
like, I thought there were gonna be like, I don't know, like some kind of they have to win at poker or something against somebody or whatever. Or I was like, is there gonna be like a crime boss that's managed to like control the zombies somehow or something?
So what I was thinking, and the only reason I was thinking this was because there was this one letter in The Last of Us Part Two, and this is how much I've played that game for research. like there was a bank vault that you need to crack into in The
Oh
Last of Us
yeah.
Part 2, and inside is a skeleton with a shotgun, and that's how you get the shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Or the holster, or both, I can't remember off the top of my head. But on the note written by the guy, it's like, oh, we tried to rob this bank on Outbreak Day, and I got locked in the safe. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that was really interesting. What would like a prison, not a prison, a bank heist go on Outbreak Day on The Last of Us? That is really interesting world building,
Yeah.
which we never saw again in that game. But I thought that was what it was going to be like. It's like it's Outbreak
Yeah.
Day in Las Vegas, and everything's going to shit.
Yeah.
And these guys are like, okay, we got to go in and out
Before
without
we get
dying.
summoned. Yeah. That
That
would have
would be,
been a cool idea too.
yeah. Oh, it was like, but
Yeah,
we
like it just kind of felt like the Vegas setting was literally so he could have zombie tiger and a safe.
honestly, it could have been
It
anywhere.
could have been a bank in literally any city.
Yeah, like it could have been like Hell or High Water, where it's like a rural town with a safe, and it would have been the exact same film.
Yeah. Like the fact it's in Vegas doesn't really add to it.
Yeah, and it's like when you actually think about Army of the Dead, it is
Yeah.
really disappointing and not
Yeah.
all that great, but
Yeah.
it's still a good time. I have a
It's a
good
good
time
time.
watching
It's
it.
it's a dumb movie. I like I said, people should go watch it, but it's a dumb movie. But I like it.
Hmm. Ooh, something I found out the other day. Do you remember Tignataro, the helicopter pilot?
Yeah, she's digitally added in, isn't
I
she?
know
I
she.
didn't know that.
It was so well integrated. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that is
I love that
impressive.
she's not even met half the cast she was in scenes with, which is just bizarre to me.
Yeah, no wonder she was having none of it.
Yeah, it's
Oh, do you know
pretty
what?
good.
After watching the film, I would have been like, I wonder what the film would be like if it was narrated by Tignataro. With her
Be
just no
interesting.
nonsense attitude. It's like, yeah, I profoundly hate my life. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's a mood.
Mm,
I think we're gonna go off on tangents to Army of the Dead because that's a zombie movie that didn't quite hit everything, whereas Shaun of the Dead is a zombie movie that was done very well, and it's also a mixed mash of genres, and it's done really well.
absolutely. Um,
Whereas, like, obviously, Army of the Dead is attempting to be a mixed mash of genres, but some elements don't go together. Whereas Shaun of the Dead, the elements weirdly work together.
shockingly well. And
Ooh,
plus, Army of the Dead is the most recent high-profile zombie film to actually come out,
yes,
so it's
true.
fresh in our minds.
This is true. Also, unfortunately, the cinematography is not that great, but I can
Army,
see where he tried.
Army of the Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw a tweet that said "Army of the Blurry," and I was like,
Oh,
"Yeah."
it's yeah.
It's like I get what Zach was going for, but I'm like, well, I would have liked to have seen what's on screen, to be honest.
Yeah. Like some scenes I was like, whoa, did someone put something in my drink? Am I okay?
uh, and then it's like there are so many instances whereas in Shaun of the Dead, like the character interactions are incredibly organic and happen at
Yeah.
places where they're actually relevant. Whereas in Army of the Dead, Batista is having a conversation with his daughter while he's putting the fuel into the generator. And I can just
Yeah.
imagine everyone else twiddling their thumbs, just waiting for the
Just
power to
like
come on while they're having their heart to heart.
yeah.
Oh,
I feel like the fact that she randomly just joined was a bit like this is
it was so
why
forced.
though.
Like
I was
if
like,
you
and also I would not just give up. Like if my daughter was like, I'm going and I'll just sneak in after you, and I'm like, fine, you go die then, bye.
like
Personally, if I had a kid that was like, I want to go fight zombies, I was like, the zombies will literally eat you.
I mean, I there's there are aspects of Army of the Dead that are really creative, like um, the Latino guy who was making vlogs about shooting zombies. That was really
Yeah,
creative. I'm like, ooh,
I thought so. Yeah,
what if this is like a YouTube craze where it's like, oh, who's got like, imagine like this is a really weird one, but imagine if like there are fast run like oh what are they called?
do you mean like people who do like
Speed
parkour
runs,
and stuff? Speed runs, yeah.
like speed run of like getting from point A to point B, but killing actual zombies along the way, and how many you kill along the way in the fastest time. And there are
Oh, yeah.
records on YouTube. That would be
Yeah, I could
really
see that
cool.
happening. That was a cool idea.
But it's like there are so many interesting ideas in Army of the Dead, but all of the ideas they focused on were terrible.
Yeah. Every time I say to somebody there's a zombie tiger, like I told Ryan, he was like, that is literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And I'm like, I know, but it's so
Isn't it
cool.
just? Like, I know, right? Isn't it great?
Yeah. And then when I watched the making of it, I was like, this is how much time and like energy and research went into creating a zombie tiger. I was like, okay, I'll let you have your zombie tiger.
Yeah. And you
You
know,
worked hard for it. I was like, it's
absolutely.
pretty impressive.
And the death scene, like, it was a bit gratuitous, but my god, I found it
I
satisfying.
was like, I am here for this. This is why I watch zombie movies. And
Oh,
also, I just love the way that they had it behave like an actual cat, like playing with him and like batting him. And like that's how my cat plays with its toys. Like when it's like it's got a toy fish and it will literally smack it across the room and then chomp on its head.
yeah, fair
So I was
enough.
like, oh hey, it's like watching my cat play with a toy.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was like, that's a pretty cool attention to detail that they have the tiger actually behave like a cat.
uh, yeah, absolutely. Like, there are so many interesting tidbits all the way throughout Army of the Dead. Like, we were talking about the daughter. Like, you take the
Yeah.
daughter and the Indian family out of the film, we'd be half an hour shorter and the better for it.
Yeah.
Because the pacing of that film was atrocious most of the time.
Yeah. I
Uh,
don't even. I feel like we didn't really need the daughter character in there.
at all.
Or if you were gonna have her in there, have her outside still, like maybe trying to do something else or whatever, or just don't have her in there at all because she added nothing really to the story. She was just there as kind of an emotional thing for I've
Um,
forgotten the big guy's name, but
I
it
call
literally
him
felt like it was.
Batista or Drax the
But
Destroyer.
yeah, I know it is Drax. Um, it was really weird seeing him without makeup on.
That's
But
how
yeah,
I've seen him, and then seeing him on with the makeup is what's weird for me because I used to watch
ah,
wrestling way back when.
oh, that's fair. I didn't know of him or like anything until Guardians of the Galaxy. The only way I recognized him was by his voice. I was like, I know that voice. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it seemed like the daughter was just his thing to for him to have some extra emotional tisms going on.
Yeah, and it was
I
incredibly
was like,
forced,
yeah.
which is
I mean,
never
the
good.
dude already had to shoot his wife, so you could have like maybe him being really worried about his current romantic partner? Question mark. I was like, are they together? Apparently they are.
I will say though,
Like his romantic interest. I was like, what? Okay, you're dating. Like I never got that vibe, but all right.
yeah, it's almost like, oh, we're gonna start dating after this mission is done, and then elevator opens, and that was one of the most
Snap.
ruthless neck snaps I've seen in a while.
Yeah. I had to laugh at it though because it just the CGI. It just for me that was just funny.
Me too. I was like, oh, that was funny.
Yeah, I was
Um,
like, oh no, sad moment, but also
yeah.
that was funny.
Oh, and the German guy. It was just
Oh,
so
the
over the
German
top.
guy.
I loved him.
I know, I was so sad when I was like, no, no. I was more invested in those guys' relationship than anyone else's.
Yeah, because their bromance was so
Yeah,
surface level, but
I
you
was
could
like,
see the
oh.
progression. It's like, oh, what if these two were the focal point? That would have been really interesting.
Yeah, if they were the main characters, I would have been way more invested. I was like, I want a show with just these two in it.
But you know what? German guy is set to be in the
Yeah,
prequel, so
yeah. So I'm happy for that. But I was like,
yeah.
I just want like a buddy movie with these two.
But speaking of visual effects, the gore and how they got the girl with the hole in her stomach when they first fight the zombies. Wow, it looks good.
Yeah,
Talking about Shaun of the Dead, by the way,
yeah,
just in
yeah. I
case
know.
anyone missed it. But I was like, wow, this is 2004,
Yeah,
and it
that's really
holds
good
up.
practical effects. Like, yeah, I remember. I watched this probably when I shouldn't have done as well when I was like a bit younger. Because I remember watching it. I used to like go and watch movies with my mum and dad, and they were watching this, and I guess they thought I'd be okay with it, but I was like really grossed out by the intestine scene.
Oh god, yeah.
I think I watched that scene when I shouldn't have, when I was like a bit too young for it. So I was a bit like, I don't like it. It
Hmm.
wasn't like I think so. It was probably. I think I only watched that scene. I didn't actually watch the whole movie. I think I watched that scene, got grossed out by it, and my mum was like, "Yeah, all right, get out. You're too young to watch this movie."
Fair. Oh, like I love how there's constantly in the first act like close the door, close the door, close the door, and no one ever
It's
closes
just
the
no.
door.
Yeah.
When somebody
Oh
walks in, is
God.
like, I'm gonna go close the door. It
Yeah.
was great.
I love
Oh,
that bit.
it's great. Multiple plans, and then we got a payoff, and it's like, okay, we got a character learning something. That's great.
Yeah. I love the when he's playing the shooting game and he's like, "Oh, up there, on your left, this way, that way," and then it's like
Yeah.
that happens later on. Yeah, and it's the reverse because it's him telling Shaun to shoot, and like in this scene, it's like Shaun telling him where to shoot. And I was like, I like that. That's good.
Yeah, it shows just how well they know each other and that they're on the same wavelength, even though they're in two different points in their lives. And
Yeah,
then it's like, it's cool to see how close they are, even though like they know they're kind of bad for each other, but they're such good friends, despite all of that. Because
yeah,
I think throughout the film, like there were instances where Ed was looking at like, oh damn it, like Shaun, like being really apologetic, and then just unable to help himself, just ends up fucking things up.
yeah,
And then Shaun constantly defending him, like if like there are so many friendships like this, which is why I think
yeah,
it's like so relatable in so many different aspects of it.
yeah. Definitely.
I would have loved it if they killed a zombie with a record, though.
Yeah, it would have been really funny. Uh,
And then seeing the roommate in the shower just
oh yeah,
zombified, standing still, and I'm like, Shaun, how did you not know that this was in here? Like, how?
yeah. He's just like, oh, oh no. I love how he's like is like going to drive the car, and he's like, "Oh, he's gonna be so mad when he learns I'm driving his car." And Sean's just like, "I don't think he'll be bothered."
I really don't think so. Let's just go.
Yeah,
And then in the pub, he still makes it, and I'm like, oh my god.
yeah.
And
You
then,
should have killed him.
yeah, it's mental because he said, the roommate told Ed, next time I see you, I'm gonna kill you. And he comes as a zombified boy and
Yeah,
then kills
and
him, and
then
I'm like,
lunches
holy
him.
shit.
Yeah,
Plant and payoff again.
yeah. I love how the zombie kid that he says you're dead throws a ball at him. I was like, the zombie managed to throw a ball. So
I know.
stupid.
That was just mental. I just love how Shaun is just traumatized while Ed is eating his cornetto. It's just like,
Yeah. I like the "you've got red on you" joke as well. Because he's
mm,
constantly like, where he's wearing his work uniform, there's red all over, so he's like, "You got red on you." Like, it could be literally anything they're talking about.
yeah, because it starts out with the pen leaking and then there's blood, and it's really cool how throughout the day Shaun just gets more and more disheveled,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's to the point where he's a completely different person, like visually,
yeah,
alongside from a alongside the writing perspective, where it's like, oh hey, yeah, this guy's not the same bro anymore, so
yeah.
you see it and you know it. It's great.
Very good. I also really love that, like, when he runs into his friend and she says, "Oh yeah, adulting," but she also says, "I'm glad somebody made it," when she's talking about him and Liz.
Yeah, the
And
relationship,
then
absolutely.
at the end, it's like, "I'm glad somebody made it," and
Yeah,
it's still those two, and I'm like, "Oh yes, very good foreshadowing. I
yeah,
like it."
absolutely. And I think it also goes on to reinforce, oh hey, it's like you're adulting, and so it's almost another theme slash metaphorism in here is like sometimes you're gonna have rocky patches in your relationship, and the zombies are kind of like each and every single problem that they have to overcome for their relationship to work. And
Yeah,
then sometimes their friends are gonna get in the way and they turn into zombies, and after they get rid of those issues, they're finally able to
yeah,
get together, kind of thing. So I thought, oh my god, another theme that you can wrangle out of this is just, and there's
yeah,
so much evidence supporting that as well.
yeah, it's so good.
But no target dummies though. um I love the way he's just concocting the plan as well. It's like, go to mom's, kill Roger, get Liz, come back
Yeah.
home.
I love how it slowly gets, like, less and less, like, it's like, "Oh, sorry, Roger," and eventually it's just, "Sorry."
Absolutely. Oh, and then
Oh, the way he breaks, like, like, the hard, cold, like, deadpan when he's like, "Just look after your mum, okay?" I was like, "Oh, I might
hmm,
actually cry."
yeah, his final speech that he gives to Shaun is fantastic.
I know, I was like, "Oh my god, Edgar Wright, how dare you have this, like, really awesome deadpan character and then make him make me feel things? How dare you?"
Yeah, he was funny because of the deadpan, and the deadpan still works for the speech
Yeah,
that he gave, and it's like, oh my
I
god,
know, I was
it's
like,
so
"How
good.
dare you?"
Like, this trilogy, honestly, I love how well
Yeah.
written all the
I kid
characters
you
and
not.
everything is.
I think there's like 3 points in this movie that actually make me tear up or make me cry, and I'm just like, "Oh, it's so." I think it's the scene in the car where he's talking to his stepdad. It's
Hmm.
when he's got to shoot his mum, and I
Hmm.
think it's when you find out Ed's been bitten and is gonna die.
Yeah, those are. I can totally understand if you teared up during those segments.
And I was just like, for a comedy, this film makes me cry sometimes.
Yeah, because it's a comedy, it's zombie tism, and then you've got heart, you've got all sorts going on, and it's so incredibly well balanced in the script,
Yeah.
and it's executed so well on screen. It's great.
It's so
Oh.
darn good.
I can't remember. Like, I think the last time we had so much praise for something that we're talking about on the show was probably Bly Manor.
Yeah.
And that was, what, half a year ago?
Yeah.
Oh, mental.
Well, I think that's gonna be something I watch every Halloween now.
Oh, I'm so down for watching Bly Manor again.
Yeah.
But it's like something I've realized, like the character that really stands out the most to me personally in Bly Manor is still Peter Quint. Like that's such a nuanced character that you have
Yeah.
every right to hate, yet at the same time you can completely understand everything he does. He's such a
Yeah.
well realized character. I love him. Oh, but I was gonna bring up something else that was planted and paid off as well, but I mean among the thousands. But because we just got to the point where roommates turned, so we gotta. I love the fact that he opened the shower curtains. He was done, and he just closed them again.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm sorry. And then
He's
he
like,
just
I'm
walks
so
away.
sorry, bye bye. I'm gonna leave now.
And then Ed going out of his way to hit zombies on the road. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh,
I love how the newscaster is like, they need to destroy the brain. Ah, sorry.
remove the head or destroy the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was getting Netflix up so I could like refresh my memory and my sound was still on.
Ah, fair enough. Fair enough. I didn't hear any
Decided
of it.
to. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's fine. Oh, that's what it was. Another plant and payoff is like the entire way in the film, Sean was like, "He's not my dad. He's not my dad. He's my stepdad." And
Yeah.
then after he gave that speech, and when he's having a breakdown with his mother outside of the car, he's like,
Yeah.
"He's not my dad. He's not Roger." And it's like, "Oh, Sean, you've been saying no, no, no. He is my dad, but he's just not Roger anymore." And I loved how that there was that turnaround,
Oh. Yeah.
and
It was so good.
it was A, funny, B, heartfelt, and C, incredibly well set up. It was
Yeah.
brilliant.
Like, oh.
Because every other. Oh, they just got to the point where they ran over the dude and he's just a mangled mess. And then.
And he's checking if he's okay.
Like,
And he's like, he's dead either way. That's not the point,
like,
though.
it was a zombie. Oh, it's a zombie. Oh, thank God. Let's go. It kind of reminded me of that one Treehouse of Horror episode in The Simpsons where the zombie outbreak and then Homer shoots Flanders. And
Yeah.
then Bart just goes, "Oh my God, you killed zombie Flanders." And Homer just goes, "He was a zombie." And I just. Early Simpsons was so good.
It
Um,
was.
I ju-
Season 5, up to season 5, I think it was good, and then it stopped being good.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not good now. But yeah. Also, I love how like, well, for lack of a better way of saying it, how English the mother is.
Oh yeah,
Like
she's so
she's
English.
such
I've seen.
such a quintessential English mother in so many ways.
Yeah, it's weird because before I watched Shaun of the Dead, I watched a film with my mum called Calendar Girls, and she's in that. And
Okay.
she plays a sort of a similar character in that
Hmm.
one, but like she's a bit more timid in that one. But yeah, she plays pretty much the same character, like,
Got even
you
more
know,
timid than
typical
this.
mum. Yeah, way more timid than this.
Oh my! I can't even imagine that.
She's way timid, but then she obviously Calendar Girls is about a bunch of old women that decide to do a nude calendar. So she's timid
Oh,
until she's not timid.
gotcha. Oh wow.
But yeah, it's
um,
actually based on a true story as well. Like they did it to raise money for one of the like it's a bunch of like old women that are all friends and they're all in this like club together and one of them loses their husband to cancer, so they do this nude calendar to raise money for him.
oh, I've not seen it, but I do know what film you're on about.
Yeah, it's got Helen Mirren in it. Pretty good.
Yeah. Oh man, I haven't thought about that in a while.
It's a goofy film.
I suspect so. Kind of reminds me of a female version of uh, Full Monty, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Because they have to be male strippers to pay for, what's the Electric Boogaloo or something like that. So, yeah, it's kind of, yeah. Oh, man, I haven't thought about that in a while.
Yeah.
Either one, Counter Girls or Full Monty.
Hmm.
um, I, I love how even though there's a huge zombie apocalypse going on and everyone's dying around her, she's still like the very polite and mild mannered woman that everyone.
Yeah.
But the only time she's cross is when Shaun does something that they both know is wrong.
Oh yeah. Like when he starts like saying like really bad things about his like stepdad, he's like, and then it goes way too far and goes, "He touched me inappropriately," and she's just like, "Okay, now I'm pissed at you."
Like, I lied. Yes, I know. Just like, oh my god. Oh, and then even before that, when he's going up to Roger, and he's like, "I'm so sorry, Roger," and he's like, "What did you do this time?" Like,
No,
oh,
I love it.
okay.
He's just about to hit him. He's like, "What did you do?"
And like, you're not quite sure if it's deadpan Roger or if he's just turning Roger. It's just so
Yeah,
good. Ah, Bill Nye should just be in more things.
I know. I love how he's in Castlevania.
He is.
Have you watched the new season yet?
No, not yet. Just
Uh,
been really busy. I've still got one more
cool.
draft of Enola Holmes to do, and then I just got to record everything, then edit everything because I want to get all the scripts done. Because if I do them one video at a time, they're never gonna get finished.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I won't. I won't talk about it then because I don't want to spoil it for you.
Oh no, no problem, no problem. Oh, Enola Holmes Part 2. I'm looking forward to making 4 hours of content.
Woo!
Like, oh, it's like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, hey, because my mom really loves the film, and I sent it to my dad. It's like, oh cool, she'll enjoy it, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm looking forward to making 4 hours worth of videos on YouTube. Have at it.
I love how like I'm on the bit where she's like, "Do you want another tissue?" I want them to turn the damn music down. I'm like, that's
Oh god, yeah.
so good.
Oh, and then yeah, the music is on again, and then like the breakdown Shaun has in the car itself, and then like how it's all directed towards Eddie is just
Yeah,
like, yeah, this is both funny and uncomfortable to watch. It's weird, but it's so
yeah,
well executed because that clearly was the intent.
yeah,
It's like, I just love how Ed is just fawning over Barbara, just like
yeah. He's just like anything she said. Like Bill Nye's character's like, "Turn it off." Just ignores him, and then she goes, "It's a bit loud." Oh, sorry, Barbara.
it's just mental. But it's like going back to the immaturity thing about Ed. Like after they have the blowout in the car itself, and when they all get out because of the child lock in the door, Shaun couldn't get out, and Ed was just
Yeah,
watching. And I was like, ooh,
it's
it's
like,
like,
"Open the door, man."
yeah, goes to show like, oh, he is just petty and immature, and he's just refusing to grow up, hence,
Yeah,
turning into a zombie at the very end, and all those tisms going on. So yeah,
yeah. I do love how it's like, Roger, have you still got the child locks on? He's just like safety
safety
first.
first.
Oh,
Oh
so dumb. And then he just climbs out the top. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'd do. I'm like, screw you, child locks.
yeah, and then we get the payoff of I'm gonna climb the wall if I need to, and then he climbs it.
Yeah, yeah. Love how, because it's so British, it's a cricket ball bat instead of a baseball
Baseball
bat.
bat, yeah.
That's still one of my favorite things about this movie.
Uh, a cricket bat is pretty fucking hard. So,
Yeah, it's flatter as well, so it'd be easy to like jab.
so this is really interesting. A cricket bat has more surface area, but a baseball bat hits harder.
Ah, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you're in a zombie apocalypse, the better tool would
The
be
baseball.
either the edge of a cricket bat, not the big flat area,
Uh,
the edge, or a baseball bat, because
ah,
it's all related to surface area and volume tensionisms. Whole science thing, but yeah, a baseball bat hits harder than a cricket bat.
cool.
The more you know.
uh,
One of those weird facts I know about. Just like, oh,
that that works then, because he does actually hit the zombies with the edge of it and not the whole thing.
hmm. I think he alternates between them based on
Ah,
the
okay.
angle and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you can tell like they had to really be careful when they swing it around. So you can tell that most of them are actually not being hit. But it's
Yeah.
so like, yeah, I'll let you off film because with the because this is a fairly cheap film to make as well in comparison to a lot of mainstream films. So the way they did it was the best way to do it, but they made it still look good.
Yeah.
Also, better if you had a cricket bat because then if you got a baseball bat and you did end up hitting someone accidentally, that is automatic concussion and possible death. So,
Yeah.
having been hit by a cricket bat, I can say it is survivable.
Ooh. Ow.
Yeah, I used to play a lot of cricket way back in the day. I've been hit by a leather ball bat, like all
Oh.
sorts. It was mental.
Sounds it.
Yeah. Like, who would have thought cricket was a contact sport?
I know, right? I've never played cricket, but I played rounders before. I know that's not the same, but I think that's the only
It's more
bat
similar
base.
to baseball than cricket,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the only game in which you hit a ball with a bat that I've ever played.
Fair enough, fair enough. Sweet. So we've
Yeah.
gone beyond the halfway point in the film,
Yes.
and we're
I'm
about
just
to.
up to the part where he's got Liz again.
Yeah, and I'm at the part where they're all driving down the highway, and Roger's about to give his emotional speech.
Oh, okay. I'll move it a bit further then.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we
Synchronizing.
go. I'm up to that bit as well. Oh,
I just. It's really interesting to see the sheer amount of chaos that's going on in this car because you've got all these different types of characters coming together and they all have no, most of them don't have any idea about each other
yeah.
and just trying to make the best of it as much as they can, but at the same time they're like, oh my god, just shut up and listen to me kind of thing going on until
Yeah.
interestingly enough it's Shaun that really takes charge of everything.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Keep hearing banging everywhere and I can't tell if it's thunder or anything else.
Ooh.
Oh no, it's neighbors. Never mind. It's not thunder. It would have been cool if it
It
was thunder though.
would have.
I know we've finally been getting sunshine without constant rain
I
intervals
know.
and chills spells. Like I
Knowing
hate it
my luck,
because
it'll
I
rain tomorrow.
sweat, but
Yeah. I hate the heat. It's really bad for my fibro. Like any like temperature change, and I just like seize up, and everything's just like
uh,
cracking. I'm like a literal glow stick.
oh, imagine if you actually did glow like that one kid from Sky High.
That'd be fun.
Oh, like
A lot of people would be like, "Do you have, nuclear poisoning or something?" And I'd just be like, "Maybe."
no, I'm just really excited.
I'd just be like, "No, I'm just shiny." And start singing the song from
Oh my
Moana.
god, yeah, Moana. God, I haven't seen Moana since the cinemas. It's due a
I
rewatch.
actually never saw it in the cinema.
Oh, fair enough. I saw it at the Fact, interestingly enough.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I thought, oh, this is a cute little film. I enjoyed it.
I liked it.
Yeah. Um, I think it was one of the last Disney films I actually like. It's been a
Uh,
while. And that's counting a lot of the Marvel stuff because going back, I'm like, oof, not many films are functional now that I really think about them. Especially since I started doing the WandaVision experiment. I'm like, oh my god, so many broken films. But
yeah,
yeah, Moana, I enjoyed it.
it was good.
Yeah. Um. Oh my god, I love the fact that it's like Shaun goes, "Mom, nothing of the man you love is in there," and he just switches off the music. I'm like,
Yeah,
I was laughing so hard at that.
I
That
know.
was a point that made me laugh.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god.
Oh, and
Literally no words were spoken in that moment when he turned the music off, but it was just, yeah, that's something he'd do.
absolutely. And then when they bump into the friends again, it's like you've got the six characters on Sean's end and the six at their end, and they're basically the equivalent. And I was like, this is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And seeing baby Martin Freeman
Oh,
was
I know. It's
hilarious.
weird. In fact, Sean Penn, no, Simon Pegg. Why did I think Sean Penn? I don't know. Anyway, Simon Pegg looks really young in this as well.
Everyone does. It's mental.
I know.
Like, I see Nick Frost these days, and I'm like, oh my
Holy,
god,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, but I just it's so cool that they've got the equivalent of each character and they're all just like greeting each other
Yeah,
and no one else in the exact same way.
yeah. I also love the bit where he's like, "Have you never taken a shortcut before?" Because that's like in Hot Fuzz, and obviously I've watched Hot Fuzz way more. So I was
Hmm.
like, ah, I love that. How did I not notice that before?
Yeah. Oh, and then God, it's so cool seeing Simon Pegg play these incredibly different characters in these three films.
Yeah, like in Hot Fuzz, he's super like serious, isn't he?
Hot Fuzz, he is very serious. Yeah, absolutely. In a
And then
weird
like,
way, like this is a bit of a tangent on Star Wars, but the way John Boyega was as the de facto stormtrooper, the one who defects to the rebellion, rebels, whatever they want to call themselves. I was thinking that he was going to end up being more like the Hot Fuzz version of Simon Pegg, where he's just dead set on being, you know, really by the bow rules and just being really serious all the time. But instead, we just
yeah,
got him shouting Ray 15 times in the film, which I'm
yeah,
still not bitter about, by the way.
disappointing. Wee! I just watched the trampoline bit.
Oh my god! Like, I
I was
wonder,
like, oh, Ferris Bueller callback.
I wonder how many times they had to do that to get it right.
That must have been so fun to film,
Yeah,
though.
and then I wonder if it was even Simon Pegg who did it, because if so, even more props.
Kudos. Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, it's really cool because, like, in a way, like we were talking about earlier on in the episode, where we're like, oh hey, Dave, Glasses Bro, was being really to the point and logical about everything, even though the situation did not demand it. Like,
Yeah,
the mother gets bitten because she was too empathetic and not thinking about reason. So you got
yeah,
both ends of the spectrum being like, okay, this is not good, but this isn't good. There's a happy middle, and that's the best place to be at.
yeah. Like, you do need some logic, but if you just run on just logic, then that can be also cloud your,
Hmm.
judgment.
That could make you very blind to what the people would be
Yeah,
wanting to do slash feel, because if you're that disconnected, you won't be able to get through
To
to anyone.
connect. Yeah.
Whereas if you're being too emotional, then it's like no one would take you seriously, quote unquote, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, I can totally like. I've had the experience of people treating me like I'm too emotional and failing to actually listen to my logical reasoning as well as my emotional one.
Yeah. Yeah. Odd.
Like I have emotions and I have like a hard time reining them in sometimes because obviously BPD makes it very hard to manage that without medication and or therapy. So sometimes, yeah, my emotions do get the better of me, but it's still capable of logic.
Hmm.
And sometimes my points are logical. I think a lot of people just tend to be like, yeah, but you're over emotional. So they just see that bit instead of actually listening to the logical bit that I'm talking about.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of what I hope we've been doing with this podcast, where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we separate them, but at the same time, we recognize neither can exist independently.
Yeah.
They're like, we feel a certain way about a film, and we think a certain way about a film, and we talk about both, which is
Mm-hmm.
important.
Yep. Which is what I like to do. I like to
Yeah.
try and be like, this is emotionally how I'm feeling about this thing, and also these are my logical arguments for why I feel like this.
Yeah. Um. Oh, I love the fact it's like, okay, you guys stay right here. I'm gonna see if the coast is clear.
Yeah,
Walks
the
up the three
little
steps and
flag.
comes back down.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's like, how far away is it? How bad is it? It's not good.
Yeah. And it's like, I
Um,
think this might be the first time I've seen people pretending to be zombies to get through a zombie horde to their location. I could be wrong.
uh, it happens in The Walking Dead, but
The first season, yeah.
it happens later on as well in
Oh,
like a
okay.
bunch later. But yeah, they don't really pretend. They just cover themselves in like
The excrement.
gross stuff though. So I wouldn't. I would probably say I think this more counts because that one they just covered themselves in gunk and just walked. They didn't
Yeah,
actually try to be zombies. Like this one, they have to like go through acting and like
oh god, the
practicing how
acting
to be
lessons by the
zombies.
girl were so hilarious.
Yeah, I just love. Just going back a second, I love the she throws the tether ball pole to him and he literally tries to whack the zombie
Oh
with the
god,
tether ball.
yeah. Like this isn't working, and the two of them were like stab,
Yes,
stab. It's like okay. Oh, that was fantastic. Um, yeah, I guess to clarify on what I meant by that was to actually emulate zombies in order to get through them without fighting them would be the point I
yeah,
was trying to make.
yeah. I was then like that's because I was trying to remember like because I haven't watched Walking Dead in a while. And I was like, did they actually act like zombies, or did they just wear like
They
gross stuff?
kind of
And
did, but then again, it's been like 10 years since I've seen it.
I don't remember. I don't think it wasn't like to this level of trying to
Yeah,
pretend to be zombies. So,
this was
yeah,
very on the nose levels of let's pretend.
yeah,
And then the phone call he gets, and he just casually sits down and talks, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay. And then after Shaun has the meltdown, it's just all the zombies just staring at them. It's like, okay.
yeah.
Um, n- like I doubt that's how it would actually go, but for comedic purposes, it was great.
I'll give you that. Yeah, it was great. I was like, oh, they're invested.
Yes, this is quite riveting. Give us more. If not, we will eat you.
Yeah, and of course, stupid Dave breaks the window because of
Hmm.
course he does.
But it's cool because it doesn't make it out to the point where it's like, oh, David was completely wrong, but because even Sean's solution ends up being
Yeah,
faulty in its own way. So each one
yeah,
had
yeah,
their plan to get in, and each one had its faults, and each one was incredibly vulnerable towards the breach. So It's just the lesser of two evils, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Like, Shaun's not infallible and still
yeah, yeah,
continues to make mistakes, and that is really great characterization.
yeah.
Because even when he's
Also,
riding high, he's still prone to like tism.
yeah. Also, leaving the back, well, the back door vulnerable is how Ed got killed.
Yes,
So it's like,
true.
oh no, Shaun, your mistake cost you your friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Just everyone waiting for Shaun, just twiddling their
Yeah,
thumbs, not doing anything, and I'm like, okay, fair enough, I guess.
like,
Like, you'd think they'd
sure.
try to board up the, well,
Yeah,
just put something in between so that, you're kind of safe.
yeah. They're just like, ah, it's chill.
Yeah, and maybe in a more, well, less comedy centric film, maybe they would have boarded it up in a way where if they need to, they can open it up when need be. Like the front door could have been opened up at any point because
Yeah,
doors open from the inside. But unless it's got a deadbolt, in which case you need the key. But like fair enough. But like you try to do something to barricade yourself instead of not doing anything. So that part kind of rings sort of false in a zombie apocalypse logic, but like I get what they were going for in terms of theme. So thematically it works. I just don't buy it narratively, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. That's fair. I do like the bit where he's like getting all the snacks and starts chucking them. And obviously, there's been a few scenes where we've had him have the pork rind things thrown at him, and he's
Hmm.
missed. And this one time, he gets them thrown at him, he catches them. I was like, it's like completely inconsequential, but I really enjoy that.
Yeah,
It's kind of like suggesting he's not like, I don't know. He's like, it's
I
sort of suggesting he's changed. Like he's been dropping them the whole time, and now he's just finally caught them.
I would say it is important because he has been missing them all this time, and this time round he does catch them, and that could be looked at as competence being developed from the part of the character, and that is very important in terms of character development. So
Yeah,
I'd say it's very important, arguably. Like it's treated inconsequentially, but
yeah.
character-wise is very important. I'd say.
I feel like that's a thing a lot of people would miss.
Yeah, I mean I missed it until you brought it up. So
Cool, I noticed something.
yeah, I mean unless I'm doing like a diagnosis, I'm not going through a
Yeah,
film every frame by frame 16 times. So yeah,
yeah, that's fair.
but yeah, that's why we have this conversation so that we can
Hmm.
live and learn, notice things other people missed.
Is V good?
Yeah.
I love how they boarded up things with just chairs. They just put chairs in the way now,
I know.
but they
Oh,
didn't do that before.
yeah. And it's like Dave saying, "Oh, it's like, why don't you and your boyfriend?" It's like he's not my boyfriend, and then he gives him a beer. It's like, "Oh, thanks, babe." And then he's like,
Yeah,
"Okay." It's like the writing in this is so sharp and it's so clever. It's great.
yeah,
And them just chilling out, eating snacks in the pub, just chilling, really in a very
yeah,
awkward silence. But something I just noticed is really interesting is all the way up until this point, David and his girlfriend have been very close together, and
yeah,
visually they're like the furthest apart at this point. And I think that is really interesting from like a relationship level because the more that they've gone through this and the more that she's in, well, not really seen, but uh, come to terms with who David really is at this
yeah,
point, the further she's drifted away from him to the point where everyone is in a circle, close together, but then the two furthest away are the supposed couple in the film.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting.
Also, I love how Dave is like constantly like X, and it's like, shut up.
Oh, I love it how he just switches on the lights and then sees the zombies, switches them
Oh
off,
yeah,
puts the
it's like,
blinds down, and walks away.
yeah, it's like, oh, I'll just pretend I didn't see that.
And
It's
then
the
just
same as with the roommate though. He just shuts the curtains and walks away.
just the sheer traumatic look he has on his face when he's walking out again is hilarious.
Yeah. Also, do you know what I like about I think it's World's End? How the character dynamic switches to him be like Simon Pegg's character being really immature and refusing to grow up, and
Hmm.
then
Nick
Nick Frost's
Frost is
character
the mature one, yeah.
is like the mature one, yeah.
Like, oh, it's come 180. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, like, to be fair, like all the characters in that film were mature, and Simon Pegg was the immature
Yeah,
one.
he was the immature friend that was just like, I wanna go on a pub crawl that we never succeeded on.
Yeah, absolutely. And with each pub crawl, things just getting more and more just diabolical. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like to emphasize further the sheer level of immaturity in Ed, the
Yeah.
final thing, quote unquote, that gets them into real shit, his action to actually play the pinball machine or the
Yeah.
pachinko, whatever it was. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh my god, no, why?
I never actually realised, but they really hate Queen, don't they?
God, I mean, kind of, but it's
They're
like,
just like, kill the Queen!
kill the queen. What? And then Ed just goes and switches. Like, it's on random. Oh no.
Yeah. I love how this must be the first time where he decided I want things on the beat because they're like
Oh,
smacking the
it's so
zombie to
well
the
edited.
beat, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, I love this, and like you can sort of see why he was like, yeah, I want this, but a whole movie in Baby
Yeah.
Driver.
And yeah, Baby Driver was that.
Yep. He said that apparently started as an idea for a music video and then developed into a film, and I'm like, I can see that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, wait, Baby Driver or this scene?
Baby Driver,
Okay, yeah.
like yeah.
Oh god, yeah, like
It's a rave now. Sorry.
oh god, yeah, like the soundtrack of Baby Driver is phenomenal.
I
And
know,
the
I love it.
editing is immaculate. Like that is such a well put together film. Don't really care for the narrative, but practically speaking, that is such a good film.
Oh yeah, I can see like where the narrative sort of falls down near the end, but I still love the film. It's such a good time.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. I got to the rave part. It was great. Like the lights going on and off, and like,
Yeah.
it's great.
And the lights going off on and off in the beat in time to the beat as well, and I'm just like, ah,
And
it's so
then
good.
the mother and the girlfriend just bobbing their heads like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I just got to the bit where she's like throwing the dart, and he's like, no, and then she hits the zombie, yes, and then
Yes.
she hits him in the head. I was like, oh,
And then
no.
when he pulls it out, the squirt of blood that comes out of his head, I'm like, oh my god, Shaun, are you okay? And
Yeah,
then putting the tie around it, I was like, oh my god, yes.
yeah. Well, they turned Queen off now.
Yeah. I love how it's like, why didn't you shoot him? It's like, Ed, it's
And then he
deactivated. Bang! Oh my god.
also deactivated. That just kind of reminds me of Hot Fuzz, but obviously Hot Fuzz comes
Oh,
out
the
after this,
mine,
so that's
yeah.
just yeah. So like, I'm just seeing connections now where there aren't any.
Oh, just.
I do love that scene though. I can't wait to talk about that next week.
Oh, I can't wait. It's
Hot Fuzz is definitely up there with my favorite movies. Like it's
Oh,
in
it's
my
so
top
good.
5 favorite.
It is so good.
I used to watch it like so much to go to sleep because it was just like it became my comfort movie, and I never get bored of it.
The greater good. The greater good. Shut up! Like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh, it's. Then seeing, like, the DVD collection, and then watching Bad Boys,
yeah,
and like, oh my god, what?
yeah,
Oh, it's so good. Anyway, we'll talk about that next week.
yeah,
But yeah, it's really interesting. Like uh, Shaun is the one who has the gun, and so far, like he is a de facto leader, but also at this point the most competent person. So it makes sense why he has the gun, even though he
yeah,
is a shit shot.
yeah,
And then the mother revealing to Liz that she's been bitten.
yeah.
Never fun.
No,
I was like,
she conveniently hasn't turned this whole time, and I was just kind of like, I feel like she'd have turned by now. Like the
um,
severity of the bite, I was like,
I don't
like maybe
know.
if it was just a little like, I don't know.
I guess it's not out of the realm of believability because it took Roger quite a bit to turn as
Yeah,
well.
true.
So, and
I
plus, how
guess
long
it's
did
one
it
of them.
take the roommate to
It
turn?
yeah, true. It takes people a while to die as well.
Yeah. So it's not too out of the realms of believability, like especially
Yeah,
when thinking about the roommate that took ages to turn. So,
that's true. I don't know. For me, I was just like, it felt like it took her a really, really long time to turn. But I guess you're right. Now that I think about it.
hmm. I just love when he tries to shoot, and then Davis just says something stupid like, "Oh, it's not working," and then Ed just goes, "Cock it," and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, I gotta do that," and I like it's
He
such a
says
small
cock it
thing.
earlier on as well.
Yeah, it's like I'm so glad that they paid attention to that. That after loading the gun, you do have to like cock it in order for it to work. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
attention to detail. I appreciate you when most other films will just load and start shooting without actually, you know, cocking it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that wasn't him specifically telling them to cock the gun either. I think it might have been him also saying cock it as in
I
like
know, it's
his
so good.
uh I
Like,
know, it just works. It's like
it's,
he didn't know to cock it, he's just saying his thing that he says when things are going bad.
yeah, true. Like, the use of language in this film is fantastic. Is like, because there are so many multiple interpretations that could have been had with anything that they say, but at the same time, like there's the intended meaning and then there's the alternate meaning that still supports it, and I'm like, oh my god, like it melts my brain thinking about the attention to detail in this script. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I actually hadn't even thought about that until like talking about it with you, but now I was just like in hindsight he said cock it earlier on in the movie. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's him saying that, but it's like, hey, double meaning.
Absolutely. And then I was earlier when the mother picked up the flowers and it's like, I think these are for me. And then she
Yeah.
just says to Shaun, oh, thank you for the flowers. And that comes full circle because, oh, Shaun promised to get her flowers today and she did get them in a very
Yeah.
roundabout way. So, yeah, it's great.
I love the bit where they're holding bottles against each other and the like
Like, that's not
Diane's just
fair.
like,
Here you
this
go.
isn't exactly fair. Here you go, thank you.
It's just.
I
Uh,
just wanted a bottle too. I just wanted to be involved.
God, I do enjoy her quite a bit in this film. She's
Yeah.
great.
I do enjoy her. I like the actress as well. I've seen her in a few things, mostly
Cool.
comedies.
Yeah, oh, it's like this quote unquote Mexican standoff is so good because A, it's funny. B, it's emotional because of the mother passing away,
Yeah,
and C, everything is in character. It's great.
yeah,
And then we get to see just how much of a hypocritical character that David really is, because the girlfriend's like, look, I know I was your second choice, but I put up with it. I was hoping you'd realize it eventually. And then him saying, oh, I don't hold guns, I'm a pacifist, but now directly pointing a gun at someone. It's like, oh, script, just,
yeah.
you're too good, stop it.
When he calls him Pickle, I was like, how dare you? I hope he shoots you in the face. I know he won't, but you know.
Oh, I mean, he did get a pretty gnarly death.
Yeah, he did. It was so gnarly that it put me off watching the film when I first accidentally watched it when my mum was watching it. I was too young for zombies at that point, clearly.
But now we watch zombie tigers biting people's heads off,
Yes.
and we revel in it.
Oh yeah. Yes. Now I'm just like, give me the gore, but don't give me pizza afterwards because I'll be sick.
Fair, fair. Oh, uh, yeah, it's kind of hardcore that Shaun is the one that had to kill Zombie Mom as well.
Yeah.
Because like there are so many films where it's like, oh, the character has to kill their own parent or their own loved one, like Batista from Army of the Dead. But we didn't
Uh-huh.
know the mother, so we were like, oh, okay, so he killed the
Shut him.
mother. I guess they
Okay.
liked each other. Cool.
I assume they had a good relationship.
Yeah. Whereas, I mean, I love. It's so messed up in Army of the Dead where Batista didn't even realize that. Oh, he was completely wrong about why his daughter was mad at him
Yeah.
for
I
all
was
these
like,
years.
what?
Oh, it's mental. Whereas this, it's all so well informed. Um, and if we're going to be sticking to the themes of growing up and stuff like that, it could almost be
Yeah.
like, oh, hey, Shaun can't be supported by his mother forever, and eventually he has to leave the quote unquote nest.
Yeah.
So that could be the metaphor. That, like, maybe it's intended, maybe it's not, but there's so much evidence to support it, you know? So, oh, it's so refreshing to talk about a script where there's so much evidence for anything that you say, and
Yeah.
it can be supported with things in the film, as opposed to, I don't know, could it be this? I don't know. Like, there's
Yeah.
nothing to substantiate any of this, so it could be.
Yeah. I'm at the bit where David just tried to shoot Shaun, and everyone's like, David, no! And I'm
I
like, are you really
know.
shocked? Are you really shocked he did that? Like, he's been a dick the whole time.
Absolutely. And
I was
it's,
like, yep, that sounds about right for him.
yeah. And then in that final moment, it's like he's about to be like the changed person where it's like, okay, look, Shaun, I'm really. But before he even gets to apologize, he just gets ripped to pieces, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah. You maybe shouldn't have gone near the
Oh,
window.
I was thinking that the entire time. It's like, get away from the
Big
window,
old
get away from the
dummy.
window, get away from the window. Just.
Yeah, he just like slowly just moves closer and closer to the window while he's apologizing. I'm like, are you trying to make yourself get cut off?
Hmm.
Are you just like, I'd rather die than admit I was wrong?
And then just, and then the girlfriend just does the stupidest thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Runs out with his leg, like, ah!
like I get that she wasn't, she didn't have all her brain cells, but like something slightly smarter would have been nice.
Yeah. I feel like they just, like, they have to have her get killed as well, so she loses all her brain
Yeah,
and
like
just runs
that's
out. I
yeah,
feel like that could have been handled better. Like, she could have been, like, almost getting out with them, and then she could have been eaten at the end, you know, when they actually get out the warehouse.
yeah, something like that. Because as it stands, like this is something that happens in so many zombie films. Like even like going back to Dawn of the Dead by Zack Snyder, the girl just loses all brain cells and then goes out there and makes everything
Yeah.
worse. And I'm all because the finale needs to happen. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, guys.
Yeah, I think for this, that's my only issue with this movie is it feels like there was nothing for her to do anymore, so she ran out there to die, and that's
Yeah,
literally it. That was like the
genuinely.
point at that point, like, and there's nothing for her to do. And I'm like, you could have come up with something for a character to do, like, she could have sacrificed herself for Liz at the end or something.
Yeah, like
Like,
something.
she could have literally Liz could have been about to be attacked, and she could have shoved the zombie away and like tussled with it and gotten
Or maybe
bitten
even
before it could have killed her.
like if we are going to be like, oh, she's got no more purpose in the film, it's like, okay, maybe like as she's trying to pull David back, she gets caught and pulled out, and it's like
Yeah.
something as opposed to just, oh my
Instead of
god,
just running out there.
yeah, just
Yeah.
like, come on, like that part did annoy me quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
Rewatching it, I was like, "Oh, really? Why are you running out there, you dum dum?" Like, even when they're shouting Diane, I'm like, "Oh, why would you do that?
yeah, it's like I get
What did she think she was gonna do?"
it's like all logic in her just left. And considering that this is a film that, even though it was making light of a lot of things and taking things in a very like highlighting the immaturity in a lot of characters, like that was absurdly immature of her.
Yeah.
Although I do like the fact that even though Ed was being munched left and right, he still climbs over the counter.
Yeah. Like, Ed! And he just dives over. What?
It's kind of cool because like every time he's called out to Ed, he's always come to him, so he's still
Yeah. It's like,
being,
"Aw."
yeah. I love the scene in the cellar where he's like, "No, it's all right. You two can have the bullets. I don't mind being eaten." And then
And then he
after they're having
changes
the,
his mind.
yeah, it's like actually I changed my mind. I want to be shot while they're having their
Mm.
emotional like rekindling of the romance.
Yeah.
It's like if this
Grab the
was,
bullets. Damn
okay.
it, no. He set fire to the bar.
Yeah. And like if this was like a grim film, they would have died here, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
kind of hopeful, and I kind of like that, especially considering it's a comedy and the themes that they were going for with this film, or well,
Yeah.
supposedly. I don't know if they were intentional or not, but yeah, it was. The ending was incredibly appropriate
Yeah.
to what the film was going for, as far as I'm concerned. Very supported.
Yeah. Oh, the actual stupidity of the bullets just flying everywhere. I
That
love
is
it.
what would happen because the gunpowder
That's
in.
cool. I was just like,
Oh,
that's just funny.
okay,
Like the
fair enough.
absurd way it hit the zombies. I was like, really? Would it hit that one in particular?
Oh,
Okay,
right, I
I'll
get
let
what you
you
mean.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not saying like it's absurd that the bullets went flying everywhere. I should have maybe phrased it better.
gotcha. Fair enough.
I
um,
enjoy it though.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I
Um,
think it just goes to show that the only negative thing I've had to say is about Diane running out to get eaten by zombies. The rest of the movie, there's just not really been anything negative.
yeah, like it's been at worst average. At worst, that's
Yeah,
probably the worst part where it goes into bad territory. But everything
yeah.
else has been good or above.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like I would easily say this is solid 8 or like high 8 out of 10
Yeah,
in terms of like just pure writing quality, never mind the editing, music, acting, and effects and anything
yeah.
like that. So it is a very good film in case we didn't make it
It is.
abundantly clear.
Yeah, and you should definitely go watch it or rewatch it. I mean, I know it's an old film. This film came out in 2004. I am very old.
Yeah, God.
Like this film came out when I started secondary school.
Okay, I don't know what that means, but
Um,
I was
Secondary
in
school is like high school, and 2004 I would have started like my first year in
middle
what was
school.
kind. Yeah, no, it's like
Because sixth form is high school.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's the bit before sixth form. So
Oh,
it's
okay, so
like
middle school. Okay.
okay. They don't really call it middle school here. They call it like secondary school here.
I
So
know.
like
I went
near.
to because I went to an American system, so that's why I know that.
That makes sense.
Um, so that's why when I came over here and people are going sixth form, I was like, "What the fuck are you doing in sixth grade?" You know, it's like what?
Oh yeah,
And I was well confused. But
gotcha.
yeah, over
But
time I
yeah,
realized.
so okay, yeah. So yeah, this came out when I started middle school. So I think I was 11.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think I would have been 2004. I would have been either grade 5 or grade 6, which would be like year 6, year 7 in England.
Uh,
So a while ago is the answer to that.
yeah, very long while ago.
Yeah, I do love when they were talking about like, so how are we gonna decide who's gonna shoot who and how, and then she just goes, "Oh, I think you better shoot me because I might mess it up." It's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." And then Sean's like, "Oh, well, poof, poof that do I have to though?"
Yeah. And he's like, I don't really want to shoot you as well. I've already had to shoot a bunch of people today.
Hmm. Now, I do have a it's, not a big issue, but like considering how gun ho the military was in shooting everything, how did Ed not get killed? I'd like
Yeah.
I think that's another thing
Also,
that's kind
uh,
of tism, but we've had two so far in the film. Let's be honest.
yeah. I was also like, wait, they were so gung ho shooting them all, but they're like quite happy to have them working in shops now and playing in like, like assault course type shows.
Yeah.
I was like,
Um.
what? Okay,
I.
sure, that makes sense. I know it's for like dumb comedy, but I was still like,
Oh.
this makes no more sense.
Fuck. There was a Billy Connolly zombie film from like the mid 2000s. Largo or something like that.
Oh, okay. I've not
Um.
had that.
No, that's fine. It's got Trinity from The Matrix in it as well, and Carrie Ann Moss, and it's all about domesticated zombies. And
Oh.
this is like um, kind of a weird prequel to that film. It's kind of weird because it's like, oh, this is what happened after the events of Shaun of the Dead kind of thing, even though they're not related at all.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it was like I don't really have too much of an issue with it because they did explain that the scale of it was quite local, and they did show the military circulating the town all the way to the initial scenes. So they were preparing for this, so the fact that they were able to capture them and domesticate them isn't too far fetched.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's still weird. I will give you that.
Yeah. It wasn't the fact that they were able to catch them, it was the fact that they were so gung ho about shooting them all, and then they were just like, I know, let's just keep some.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's like when it comes to something like The Walking Dead, where they're so like not not like in a city, like when they're in the outskirts, when they find a straggler here or there kind of thing going on. I thought that was how they would do it, but it's never really explained how they did it, so anything could go as far as a justification.
Yeah. I love how the last thing Ed says is gay. Because they're like, love you, and he's like, gay.
Oh god, yeah. uh, and then it's so cool, like the way he enters the room and then steps over Liz's feet was exactly what he did with Ed, but now it's
Yeah.
with Liz. Then he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna go to the shed." And it's like,
Go
"Fine,
on
but
then.
go on."
Yeah.
So,
I love how they're flicking through channels and it was like the outbreak was caused by, and then it skips the channel. I'm
yeah, I'm glad
like,
they don't
nah,
explain it.
we're not gonna tell you what happened.
Yeah,
You can
because
just guess.
there are films like fucking 28 days, 28 weeks where they do explain and it kind of it makes sense and then stuff like that, but often when they do explain it, it's never satisfying. So I'm like, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was gonna be something really stupid, like, I don't know, like, um, a
A
chicken that
demonic
got
cult.
rabies or something, yeah.
It's like, oh, Satan worshippers gone wrong.
Yeah.
And I love that is how when he goes to the shed, turns on the telly, and the first thing Ed tries to do is eat him, and it's like, hey, stop it!
Hey,
Play the game. And they
no.
just play the game together.
Yeah. Like, come on, Ed.
Yeah. And you know what? That is the film.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, if anything, talk.
Shockingly, it didn't take us ages and ages to talk about it because we like it.
Absolutely. And if anything,
And we still had, like, tangents too.
yeah, definitely. But it's like, we were so, like, focused on, like, we all had a lot of the same points that we liked about it, so it really
Yeah.
didn't like drag on anything. I mean, it's not something broken like Wonder Woman where we spent like the first 5 minutes of the film and we're half an hour into the conversation. Like,
Yeah.
this makes no fucking sense.
The more
Yeah,
broke the film, the longer we talk about it.
absolutely. Like, a lot of the time I've noticed that when we do end up taking a long time is when either a film is very broken or if it's justifying a hot take. That's when we take the
Yeah.
longest.
Yeah, true.
When we are praising a film, we just breeze through it saying that is good because it sets up this, 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 and this, and it's good because of
Yeah.
metaphoritisms and writing, consistent characters. So is it's, it's a lot more comfortable because,
Yeah.
well, I don't think comfortable is the right word, but it's more well, having talked about film for as long as we have on this podcast,
Yeah.
we know the standard and we're like, this is good because of this, and we're,
Yeah.
I guess, we're efficient at it. Whereas when it's a hot take or a
It's like you
bad
have to
film, we got to
explain it, yeah.
justify why it's bad.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, it kind of sucks if you just like this movie's bad and then don't explain
Hmm.
why it's bad. Like, I genuinely, when someone tells me a film's bad or like I see bad reviews for a film, I'm genuinely intrigued. So I will still go and watch the film, and then I'll be like, oh. But I like it when people explain to me why it's bad too.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like,
And helps that it's spoilers all the way over here.
yeah. I mean, or like, if you say a film's bad and you don't want to spoil it for people, that's fair. Like, if you say it's really bad, I can't really explain why because it's like story reasons, then fair enough. But like, if it's a film that I've seen as well, and I'm like, they're just like, I don't like it, and that's it, I just don't like it, I'd be like, but I'm curious why you didn't like it. Like, literally, it doesn't matter what it was, but like, did you not like the acting? Did you not like the story? What was it?
I mean, I guess that would be because I've had instances where I've watched films with like, yes, it's good. However, I'm very apathetic or I don't like it. Like
Mm,
any film from the European film course we did in uni. It's like,
that's fair.
pretty sure Lydia was like ripping her hair out whenever I opened my mouth about any of the films we watched. But
Yeah,
it's like,
I definitely watched her like maybe, whenever you put your hand up to speak, I feel like she was deliberately trying to be like, anybody else,
anybody else
anybody that's not
say
Dylan.
something nice about this film, and I'm like, that makes no sense. And why is Carrot Head over here? It's like, why'd they do that?
Yeah.
Tell me. It's like,
My literally, whenever she was like, "What did you like about it?" My brain was like, I don't think I understand what happened, to be honest."
yeah. But it's like or dislike, it's such a subjective thing, and entertainment, what you find
Yeah,
entertaining is so subjective and emotional. I think that's
yeah,
why what we've got going on here is really interesting because it's like we separate the intellectual and the emotional and we justify them. It's like,
yeah,
because, oh, did you think it was good or bad? Why? Did you like it or not? Why? And we can try and figure things out, and hey, that helps us get better at explaining film in general.
y-
So
yeah.
I'd like to think
It's
we're doing
also
good.
Yeah, it's also helping me like in terms of when I want to try and make a film or write a film. Like I'm constantly thinking about stuff like, does this make sense or whatever.
Hmm.
Also, obviously sometimes I will miss when stuff doesn't make sense because when you're writing and when you're like in the zone writing, it's easy to just write things and then not, you know, not
Yeah,
consider until you reread it and then you're like, actually, that makes no sense.
yeah, and it would depend on the way you write as well. Like, do you write stream of consciousness, or do you plan everything beforehand, then write and see what's missing? So everyone's got their
Stream
own.
of consciousness for me, definitely, because I plan and plan and then never write anything. I just write
Gotcha.
plans. So I'm like, right, I'm just going to go off of what's going on right now and then I'll refine it later.
Yeah, because I mean, George R. R. Martin writes like that. Well, wrote past tense because I don't think he's actually gonna finish the sixth book. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's how he did Game of Thrones, where he's like rewriting, rewriting, rewriting till he came up with that. So, which is why it's a very laborious process, and both of
Yeah.
them are because like bullet points for days can get very frustrating as well because like I want to write but it makes no sense so I gotta fix it here first kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
So they've both got challenges that are unique to each other. So
Yeah. I did try planning because I really do prefer planning beforehand, but I literally just noticed I've just started like once I've planned something, the planning will go on and on and on, and then I will never write the thing.
yeah,
So I'm
fair
like, I
enough.
think maybe I'm better off just writing something, and then obviously, so I like,
Redrafting.
yeah, I plan a little bit. Like I'm kind of like, is this what's the like kind of idea? Like so, if I'm like, oh, I've just had an idea for this thing to happen, like I'll write a bullet, like a little blurb of like this is what I want to happen, and then I'll just stream of conscious it.
Mm, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, you've seen my notes, so
Yeah,
yeah, it takes a long while. Both methods take a long while to get through.
they
So
do. Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, that was Shaun of the Dead, and if anything, I like it more than I did before this conversation. I really like this
yeah,
film.
me too. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah. And next week we're going to be talking about a little film called Hot Fuzz, and we may have a guest for that. Who knows?
Ooh,
But
I'm probably not gonna shut up about this movie because it's like out of the three, it's my favorite.
oh, I so love Hot Fuzz. It's so good. Oh, but yeah, is there anything else you'd like to mention before we end this?
Um, this movie is very good and I love it very much.
Yeah. Highly
Ended on an
recommend.
emotional note there.
Sweet. So we shall see you all next time. Take care.
Bye bye now.